Hello, welcome to this video. My name is Allie with A. Marie Speaks, and I am going to hopefully be brief in this video. Fingers crossed, it's very difficult for me to do anything short. but I've tried to record this video a couple different times, and it's just not coming together correctly, and find myself off on tangents and, getting into the hows and the whys behind things that I just don't mean to get wrapped up in. So let's hope I can stay on a topic right now. If you knew or if you didn't know, the world around us is an energetic world. It's metaphysical in its sense that I mean that it's greater than just the physical world. There's quite a few components that come together in order to create this 3D, 4D space that we reside in. These days, 2026, today is April 14th, there is this huge push with computer technology. There is this inorganic infringement that is taking place in the world that you cannot be not aware of it at this point. Whatever your familiarity with it is, if you're someone who's highly knowledgeable in the way that you understand the embedded infrastructure that's already around us, that's been building around us for 50, 70 years at least. And even if you're not, even if it's just like you are becoming aware with this kind of technology, with things like Alexa or those Ring cameras, or perhaps seeing all of the news highlights and people in media speaking about flock cameras or Palantir or all of these kind of things that are, Starlink and all of these ways that the computer technology, the internet, is coming into our world and is in fact, taking over the world. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't really matter where in the spectrum of noticing that you are. We're all starting to really notice, actually, in fact, that all of these things are one thing. And that these things have in fact been here all along, or for quite a long time. I believe there is a plan and an agenda behind all of that, and that infrastructure and technology, the plan and all of the people, communities, the businesses, all of the kind of things that promoted and are wrapped up in it, they are all part of this negative agenda. I've spoke about it many different times in many different ways, so I'm going to try my hardest just not to get too riled up and into what that means and who they are and all that kind of stuff, because it in fact doesn't matter. And when we do that silly waste time on that, focusing on them and digging through their backstories and all that kind of stuff, it does nothing but promotes their system even more. It does nothing but offer negatively tainted energies and information and exchanges that they can gobble up and use. And so I'm hoping to just not do that while also, bring forth to the foreground that is kind of what we're talking about, though. We are talking about them. However, what I would really like to present and promote myself is that the way and the intentions of which they are entering the conversation, and the way in which we will direct our own conversations, energies, thoughts, emotions, while they are being discussed. And the fact that just like when a toddler is screaming in the back of a car because, you know, you're stuck in traffic or something, and they're mad, or whatever the fact is that they're upset about, right? As a parent, you learn how to breathe through that, how to ignore it, how to block it out, or how to hush that, you know, but you don't bring the toddler up into the front seat and let them drive the car. You don't turn around and start screaming in their face too. You don't sit there and scream and cry and, oh, why don't you just be quiet? I mean, immature, I'm sure immature parents out there do that, but mature, sovereign, you know, people, you're not going to do that. You're going to cope. You're going to learn how to just let it go and how to not let that bother you in order to just get through this sitting in the line of traffic until you finally get to your destination or whatever. Right? So they are screaming and crying. They are having, you know, bratty tantrums, or, you know, whatever is this. It's very distracting is what I'm trying to promote, and trying to, you know, get with the visualization, is that the things that they're doing, they're nagging for our attention. They're desperate for it. In fact, they need it in order to keep their systems even going. And so the best things that we can do is to actually not encourage them to continue doing that, but instead to come from a place of unconditional love that says, yeah, I hear you, I get it, but I'm not interacting. There's nothing that's going to change that right now. So there's not anything I'm going to do. I'm going to keep doing my own breathing. I'm going to get into a place of peace. I'm going to hum a song. I'm going to remember a funny joke. I'm going to lighten up. I'm going to laugh about it. Do whatever it is in my own being to keep my intentions and energy positive, happy, on a higher frequency, or, you know, better oscillation, whatever we want to call this. But there's both of them are happening. There's no reason to argue about which is not. It's like saying in an ebb and a flow, which is more important, the ebb or the flow. What's better, black or white, and yin and yang? They're equally distributed. They do their own jobs. Like, you can't have one without the other. And the negative positive alignment of energetics is really like that, in fact, but they want a negative overall balance. It's an imbalance, but they believe that they can win by having more negative energy. And in fact, it doesn't work like that. We need to harmonize and balance that negative energy to have an overall positive balance at the end of the day. You know, you can't just have positive anyways. There's no sense in that. It would just be eternity. It would just be heaven if it was all rainbows and stars and happiness, you know, flowers and whatever. That's heaven. You know, that's the ultimate organic template, but unfortunately we have piled so much crap on top of it that we really need to do this rebalancing in order to even get the directionality to head for that in a true, honest way. So in the videos to come, I'm hoping to teach and learn through teaching as well, and doing my own good energetic alchemy with some kind of meditative energetic work where we tune and balance our body vessels. So this is what I mean by keeping a cool while while the toddler screaming in the background, because the world around us is like that. It's a scream fest. It's wars, it's brutality, it's force, it's tyrannical, unfair and unjust, and all of these things. But the way that we choose to interact with that is how the change happens. It's not by forcing a change or trying to disrupt or you know, beat back the bully. You don't win by causing more harm. It doesn't work like that. As much as people of the negative agenda will vomit all over us that force will beat it all, that war is peace and peace is war, and that you can't have peace without war, and that is mind control. That is, double negatives trying to present themselves as still negative. And it's like, but we all know a negative and a negative brings a positive. So in this time and place where we have all this invasive, intrusive technology, this inorganic, copied off, bad tech that is all around us all the time, I think it's so important that we learn to sponsor our organic good tech within ourselves to create that strong buffer zone to where it cannot come in. Because, no matter what we do, you're stuck with this kid in the car until you get to the destination. And so the best work we could do for the whole is to make sure that we're in a good space, that our own body is regulating and calming itself, and finding self-soothing practices, and finding this eternal heart space that is ever flowing, that has good service coming out of it, that we tap into and remind ourselves with, and keep in flow with. And that in itself actually calms the toddler. It really does. And in that analogy, and in the real world with negative agenda and invasive technologies and inorganic, invasive kind of things, infringements, they are barred from stealing any of your energy. They will not even be able to come near you to try to collect off of you, because they will recognize that they can't taint that energy. And if they can't taint the energy and drop that frequency, drop the charge of the energy and the emotions down into fuel that is edible for their systems, it's no good to them. Because good fuel, positive energy, light, love, high frequencies, forgiveness, unconditional love, it has a truth tonality to it that is recognizable to everything, because it speaks to the source creator DNA fractal within every atom. It sings the song of God. It sings that one truth of the organic template within. And things that are working to hold a negative alignment and control lies around itself to promote self-serving work for itself, it cannot and it will not risk bringing in that truth vibration. It cannot be reminded of the great whole of God, of anything that it's actually connected to and supposed to be a part of service of others. It has convinced itself of service to self. It has pigeonholed itself into a singular view of its own, whether it's system or person or body or a group or a collective. But it's this self system that its own survival is detrimentally important to its what it's convinced itself is the whole, and that if it was exposed to the whole, that it wouldn't even be anymore. And so in order to keep its being, it has to keep its boundaries, and that makes it keep the truth out. So they are already on this sort of improper alignment and inversion, that if they were to try to work in and use the good energy that comes off, they would have to expend a ton of energy in order to just retain their negative stature, their inverted position, and still bring in that good energy and convince itself, no, we're not lying. This is still the right functionality. It would expend all of that, their resources inside, and they're never going to risk that, because they think it's survival of the fittest. They think it's YOLO. They think it's winner takes all. They want to win, obviously. So they just will not. They will create their own buffer zone and stay away from you, and they will bump you right out. If you're in the middle of a Matrix movie show and you're front and center in the theater, and you're promoting positivity, and you're actually seeing truth, seeking truth, creating this an aura of light around you, which is God source light, it's like, get it away from the front. We can't even focus on the play that the actors we're trying to be and promote because this giant light's blinding us in our face. Get it out of the theater. And the whole negative agenda will just bump you towards the exit and get you away from the show because the show must go on, unfortunately. But what we need to remember ourselves is that we don't want to watch that show. We don't even want to be there. There's a whole outside beautiful mountains, beach, tropical area, whatever is your, favorite vacation destination. It's awaiting you outside. It's not in the theater. It's not a part of this construct whatsoever. And we have the choice at every moment to go outside and play and do our own thing and do what feels great and run with our service energy and run with the Creator in a way that feels, unbounding to us. It feels everlasting and wonderful. But you can't get that sitting in their sideshow, freak show, horror show. They want, even in the middle of a beautiful day, they want you crouched down and scared in their little midnight horror show. So the ways that we can really actually break that down is not by going and burning the theater down, and it's not by promoting light inside the theater and trying to wake up every other person who's stuck in the audience, who wants to be scared, who wants to be enthralled by the show, who wants to be in the magic show and raise their hand and pretend to have their head cut off by the illusionist up front. They want to be participating in that kind of thing. There's nothing that you're going to do that's going to remind them of the great outside except by going out there, by opening that exit door and closes behind you. A few people in the audience are going to be like, damn, where'd she go? There's a door over there? Oh, yeah. And then that'll sit in their mind over there for a while. Oh, yeah, there's outside. Oh, yeah, I'm at a midnight matinee. Oh, yeah, this isn't real. Why am I so concerned with these actors up there? No, I don't want to raise my hand. I don't want to be a part of this. I want to go see where that person went. That's the way that we break the change, by just not participating in it. And in fact, more and more people will just leave, and then they have no audience. They have to have an audience. They have to have paid tickets. They have to have the clapping. They have to have the when it's scary. They have to have the laughter when it's funny. They are being paid by that interaction every single time to keep their silly theatrics going. And so when we just don't do that, when we just exit and do our own things, we're getting paid. You're getting paid by the Creator by doing your great service and doing whatever feels good to you. So there's no need to worry about what's going to happen to me if I get out of here. Our lives don't revolve around their show, even though they've really made us want to believe that. For that one single chance to be called on stage, you better sit through the whole show because they might call on you. You might win the lottery. The thing could be underneath your seat. You're going to miss the takeaway gift. They do all of these things to try to keep people situated in there. Now, finally, what I will sort of bring forth and then wrap this video up is that what is the next sort of level and layer to this game, this mind illusion that negative agenda is playing, is that what they're doing is they're knocking down the walls of the theater, and they're trying to do open range cattle with everyone. And what they're trying to do is have all of their stage architecture and all of the stage hands and all of their technology now outside as well. And it cannot work, but to me it's funny to think and say that they do this, but there are people out there who totally will be gung-ho in believing that they can do this and that we're under some kind of detrimental threat, some kind of really extreme kind of position to where we have to respond, we have to break down, we have to go out and knock all their cameras down, we have to be involved in this, we have to go protest, we have to worry about their data centers, we have to go analog, we have to do all of these kind of things in order to stop their infiltration of this like outside organic world. But the big picture and the real scope of it is, first of all, they're already out there. They've been out there. And secondly, out there is just another extension of the construct. And when we as creator consciousness, when we as independent individuals, sovereign in our energy and awakened in our vessels and in our true purpose and calling, we realize that nothing can actually hurt us. Nothing can actually impact the self. And so we're safe wherever we go. And in fact, that this protection is at an atomic level. It's just like I said, the DNA of Creator Source is inside every atom. That's where the protection's at. That's where it comes out of, and it resonates through. And if you ignite it and recognize it, if you consciously know that it's there, it's on. And it's 100% all the time. Inorganic doesn't want us to know that. And they spent years, trillions of dollars. They've spent all of their mental energy on choking out and manipulating the people on the 3 levels, mind, body, and spirit. But once we realize this and we unlock these levels within ourselves and rekindle relationship with them and fluently regain the languages of each 3, then there's, they can't touch us and they cannot break the truth. And but until we get to that point, it can be we can feel very sure, it can seem like unbreakable, but that's because we've chosen to see it that way only. So yes, there is an issue. We have an invasive infringement that is constantly bombarding the space with this resonance. And it's not correct. I don't want to say that it's correct, but it's not. It's the intention of what it's seeking to do that's the issue. Because the structure and even some of the tech is actually organic. It's literally always happening. This internet surveillance, this this connectivity of a grid of exchanging information is completely organic, and it's designed by God. So there is some good things in it, believe it or not. And I'm highly techno-skeptical. I am not one. I don't use AI tools. I don't like them. I don't. I think we're subjugating our imagination and our energy and things that are organically human to a tool, out of laziness, out of irresponsibility, out of a lot of bad places and a lot of bad rules and things that we've told ourselves are true. But if we were to tell ourselves the truth, I think each and every person wouldn't want to use any of that technology either. Because we have already that technology. We are already had it, already did it, already doing it on such a more integrated, natural way that, you know, they want, and this is why I think there's such a huge promotion beforehand to sort of stifle out any sort of paranormal kind of experiences with people, and to say that these things like telepathy or telekinesis or empathy even that they aren't real, that they were like woo-woo, that they can't be, they shouldn't be included in like scientific thinking or the real world, quote unquote. And that in itself, that's the lie, that's the inversion that they ran with, that they needed as a foundation in order to take control and then feed us back technology that we already naturally have. It's very much like the fact that each and every one of us could just grow food outside of our home. And if we had been allowed to propagate, grow, and evolve naturally, that's what would have happened, and everyone would be responsible for their own food and would know how to grow food and all that kind of stuff. But what they've done is they took away that right, they took away that natural structuring from us and that natural service and from us, that tech, and then they sold it back to us on a commercial level. They sold us back the industry version of it. And of course, because they're industry and they want to benefit from it. They want to be the middleman and make money off of it. They also want control. They also want to, of course, poison us to make sure that we don't ever just realize we could do this all on our own. Same thing with health and wellness. And like I said before, this kind of spiritual woo-woo kind of paranormal or witchy kind of all of this different stuff, that it's all actually organic and natural, but they don't want anyone to believe that. Now I've gone on for half an hour. But point being that I think that if more people were aware that what they're trying to sell us right now, we already in fact had, and that we could bring back in an open source free way if we chose to, then I think more people would be willing to at least try it out. But we're at this kind of threshold area where there's still a lot of awake, organic, creative beings who seek truth, who live in their truth, who at least want to try to seek truth. And yes, there's some who've just totally lost it. Yes, there's some who just completely subjugated out their total cognitive and conscious tools, capabilities and powers to tools, to tech. Unfortunately, what can happen and what does happen is like the atrophy of muscling, right? Of muscles, not muscling. If you don't use it, you lose it. And this is across the board. People are losing their cognitive capabilities, just like you will lose your capability to walk if you lay in a bed for months on end, or years. It's unfortunate, but it's choice. It's part of design, and just use it. Just start using it, and it will come back. There is always a chance to turn things around. There's always that organic, untainted original underneath all of the crap that we piled on it. You cannot give that away. So, yeah, hoping to have some videos coming forth to help us, align with and love again, to promote, to really nourish and strengthen that organic template of self, to really bring out who our true selves, and to own and love them again, and to be happy about that, and to not let any kind of fear tactics, any kind of worries, any kind of their silly promotions from the negative agenda that they think that they're going to win the whole show. It's not real, and it doesn't work that way anyways. So the more that they promote the end of their show, the happier we should be, because guess what? When your show's over, what are we doing? There's a curtain call. There's the real world. Just like if a movie's over and you've got to go back to your life, it's like you don't live inside that single movie. But what they're hoping is that we take it into ourselves, that we think about it, that we then turn and we want to only be that actress, and we start playing out that role everywhere in our world. So hopefully we're not going to do that. Hopefully, I know for myself, I won't be doing that. And from people that I've talked with out in the real world, and a lot of people feel the same as me. They don't want to do that. They want to be free. They want to be alive. They want to feel good in their day-to-day lives. So, yeah. If we could just remember that whatever they're trying to kick at us, whatever they're trying to sell you, whatever they are promoting as a solution, they got that somewhere. They don't make anything new. And in fact, they take the good organic food, they take the good organic apple, and they go break it down in their laboratory, and they find all the bits that they could artificially recreate with a flavoring and a coloration and the same. They find a material of like texture and try to recreate and build out a Frankenstein model of this apple, and then give it back to you. We shouldn't eat it. We should also be reminded when we see that false version of the apple, oh yeah, there's real apples out there that grow on a tree. They don't grow in a lab. So yeah. All of these things that are coming out, all of these like fix-it-all technologies, all of these kinds of better than humans could ever imagine scenarios and organizations and technologies and solutions, humans imagined them. That's where it came from. Is source creation the image of God of imagination? The fact that you can think things through, to build, to manifest, to bring into fruition. That power of thought is the only power. It's the only real thing. It's the organic source of all. And if we remember that, then we can regain our sovereign power. We can regain our standing and say no to their bad offerings. And know that there's an organic solution. There's a real solution in the real world that will actually heal whatever is wrong with you. Because we are meant to be healthy, happy, full of vitality and joy. That's the design. So, and our body vessels will get us there if we just learn to listen to them, because that's what they are made for. They're made for healing. That's what the body is, growth and healing, But anyways, I'm going to leave it there for now. I have to talk for way too long. Thanks if you listened to this whole thing. See you next time.